Okay, good evening, everybody. Welcome to DuePoint. Everyone seems a little bit miserable. Is it because it's Monday? We can try again. Good evening, everybody. There we go. I think everyone was shouting too much at church yesterday, and now you're tired. Okay, welcome to everybody. Welcome to everyone around the country who's tuned into our live stream. My name's Rob van der Bijl. I'm one of the executives here at DuePoint. I'm going to be spending the next 50 minutes or so going through what DuePoint's all about, what we do here. And after the presentation, you're welcome to come speak to me, ask me any questions that you have. Anna's with me this evening, so any admin requests you can do through her. All right, so let's begin. So like I said, you're here at DuePoint's head office. We're actually a division of another company called Constantia Insurance Company Limited. Constantia is a registered insurance company, you see. Constantia is a registered insurance company that was founded in 1952. So we've been around for nearly 7 decades. Very long time, very reputable business. That's their building in the background. They're actually based down the road from us here in Randburg. That's their little orange logo that they use. That's the FSP number that we operate under. You'll notice in the foyer above our water cooler, we've got all these certificates up on the wall. Go check those. Those are our FSP licenses. We've got an FSP license, a long and short-term insurance license, an investment license, and we're also displaying our accreditation with the direct selling and the direct marketing associations. Credibility is very important for us. This is why we display, well, besides the regulation that is mandatory to display our licenses, we want you to trust the business that we're going to be speaking about this evening. So go do a background check on us if that's going to make you feel more trustful, if that adds to the credibility. We're actually part of another company called Conduit Capital, which is listed on the Joburg Stock Exchange. So that's a little bit about the business. The individuals here at DuePoint, or at least the executive, the managers here at DuePoint, are the people you see up on the screen. The characters on the far left of the 3 individuals here are registered chartered accountants, beginning with Brendan. He's our senior executive. He heads up this division. He's got a lot of experience in financial services, particularly in insurance, because his father is actually a professor of insurance who taught at Wits for 25 years. His father founded Clientele Life. Brendan and his brother Stuart followed in their father's footsteps, so they've been entrenched in insurance their entire lives as a family. I sometimes tease them and say they've probably got insurance policies as birthday presents growing up as little boys. But Brendan and his brother Stuart, along with their father, they founded Prime Meridian Direct, PMD, which is a very successful short-term insurer based down the road from us. And we know them because they do a lot of advertising on a daily basis. Then we've got Tim Reynolds. He's got a lot of experience in corporate banking. He was with the First Rand Group for about 15 years. He reported directly to the CEO and the board executives there. He heads up our financial, the auditing, and the regulatory aspects of our business. Stacey supports him in that role. She's got a lot of experience in auditing. She worked with Deloitte all her working career. You can see she's not 60, so it's a fairly young career, but experience locally as well as overseas before she came back to South Africa and joined the team. And then the 2 non-accountants, we've got Jane, who's currently on holiday visiting her mom and dad in the UK because she's born in the UK, but she's been in South Africa for about 10 years. And she brings a lot of international experience with regards to direct selling to our business, because even though we're an insurance company, our growth is predicated around our ability to be successful within a network marketing environment. And so Jane brings a lot of that experience with her. And then myself, I've been working in marketing and advertising most of my working career. I started a company at a fairly young age. I think I was about 23 years old. I ran that business for almost 20 years. I know I still look about in my 20s, but I'm a bit older than that now. So I worked primarily for myself for a large number of years, nearly 2 decades, before I actually exited that business. And I'll touch on why I left that business. But this weekend's been a special weekend for me too, because I had a baby boy this weekend. All right? So this is Thomas. We'll sign him up as a wealth engineer at the end of this week. So if I look a bit tired by the end of the week, you'll know why. Okay? At the moment, he's very good. He sleeps a lot. Okay, so that's a little bit of background about our business, about the management and the leadership here at DuePoint. And again, I hope that lends to our credibility, because I think most of us are reputable individuals, if you can trust an accountant. But it's fundamental when we propose any partnership in that you trust the business you're looking at, the people you're going to be working with, and know that the individuals that you saw up on the screen, as well as our client service staff, our mandate here is to support the people that join us in this partnership. We want to see you effective in this endeavor. We want to see you successful, because as a business we can only be successful and profitable if the wealth engineers that are partnering with us are the same. Okay. So at this part of the presentation, we discuss a couple of negative aspects, unfortunately, and this is typically the driving behavior about that kind of drives people to look at an entrepreneurial opportunity. Because we're here on a Monday evening. I'm sure there's much better things to do on a Monday evening than be in a business presentation, but we are generally pushed into looking for something extra, right? And this, at least at DuePoint, comes in the shape of a entrepreneurial opportunity. And there are a couple of driving factors that kind of make entrepreneurial opportunities attractive. And the one is the economy at the moment, because the economy is in no state that we can depend on. We've basically been in a recession for the last 6 months. If things couldn't get worse, last year they did. I remember at the end of, or the beginning of the year, around New Year, I saw on Facebook everyone was moaning about 2016. Right? Everyone was saying, I'm so happy to see the back of 2016. 2017 is going to be much better. Has it been much better for everybody? Probably not, right? Because the economy has actually become worse. We thought it couldn't get worse with 9 million unemployed people. Now there's 9.3 million unemployed people. And we see the economy playing out directly in our lives in a number of ways. So inflation's fairly high, sitting at nearly 7%. Food inflation is sitting at 11%, which means food is doubling in price every 7 to 8 years. You probably didn't get a raise in your salary in line with inflation. So I always ask the audience, did anyone get a 7% increase in their salaries for the last 6-7 years running? And no one puts their hand up, generally. And we see it in terms of interest rates and the unemployment, retrenchment happening. So it plays out directly in our lives. And each one of us will kind of understand the pain that we're going through from a personal finance point of view. Unfortunately, when we faced in the economy that we're having to deal with, your salary starts to fall away from the cost of living, and this gap starts to be created. And unfortunately, what we try to do is we try to bandage that gap with debt. Now, debt is something that we're afforded pretty much the moment you start earning a salary. And South Africans will engage in all kinds of debt instruments. The other side of the debt instrument is obviously savings and investments. But if we look at the statistics around South Africa, South Africans only start looking at investment products around the age of 50 on average, which is far too late. Okay, so we have this issue in the economy, like I said, where we have this gap that starts forming between salary and cost of living, and we will use all kinds of different debt instruments to try and make ourselves better, to try and meet the end of the month, right? So we'll engage in all kinds of things: credit cards, home loans, personal loans, car loans, educational loans. You can buy things on hire purchase, furniture, food, clothes. And so we engage in all this debt. And what we don't understand is that it actually is crippling to us from a personal finance point of view. We don't realize it yet, because I think what happens is you probably start engaging debt in your 20s when you have very little accountability in life, right? You're single, you might have just come out of university or out of school, you're free for the first time, you've got a driver's license, you maybe start earning some money, and maybe you get a credit card, maybe you get a loan to buy a car, and you start engaging in these debt instruments. But unfortunately, when the economy gets hold of you and your salary starts devaluing every year against what inflation's sitting, you suddenly find yourself in a position where you actually can't make it through the month, right? So now you're in no position to pay your debt off any faster than you were, and as you start getting older, you start taking on more accountability in your life. Like me, I've got a new financial burden. You saw a picture of him on the screen, right? I've got a second financial burden at home, and you know, the older you get, now you want to get a house, and you've got a family to support, and the accountability starts increasing, and you find yourself caught in this debt cycle that is very difficult to get out of. We only look at getting out of it much later in life. And that's why I think the statistics show that South Africans only start saving and looking at investments at the age of 50, because at the age of 50 is probably when you finish paying your house off for the first time in your life. Your kids leave home for the first time in life, right? The financial burdens take flight, fortunately. And for the first time, you now have some excess cash. And in a panic, I think we start to look at investments and savings products, but at 50, it's far too late. Because 10 years away, you've got this big day looming upon you. What is the big day? Death. Jeez, I hope you don't die at 60. Maybe we look at retirement like death, I don't know. Perhaps, right? Because for a lot of us, retirement is has a fairly bleak outlook for the majority of us. So yes, we've got retirement that's looming down on us 10 years away. And 10 years is certainly not enough time to create any sizable investment or asset that's going to see you through retirement. So this was an article that was published on the Fin24 website late last year, and it shows you what retirement planning looks like, right? Kind of illustrates to you what retirement planning looks like. So we've got 3 columns over here. Each column is headed with a figure. The figure is an amount of income that you would derive if you had a certain investment in place. So if you engaged in responsible retirement planning, or your company had an investment scheme for you, or a pension scheme of sorts, and you got to the position where you had saved R1 million by the time you retire, that R1 million will pay you out 5,000 Rand for 30 years. Okay? So this is what we want to do. This is responsible retirement planning. To be in that position, right, and when you've got time on your side, so if anyone in the audience, any of our guests are under the age of 25, you've got time on your side. You can start saving 800 Rand a month for the next 40 years, and that will put you in a position where you've saved R1 million, and the R1 million will pay you out just over 5,000 Rand a month for 30 years. The 5,000 Rand will eat into the capital amount, so your R1 million will start to shrink away, right? So at the age of 90, that's as long as you got. You can't live to 91 because you'll starve to death. You won't have any money from 90 to 91, unfortunately. So this is what financial planning looks like, right? So if you go see a financial advisor, this is what he's going to say to you. He's going to ask you how old you are, how much money you need to get by every month, right, once you don't have a salary. And he'll quickly work out how much investment you need by that stage. And then he'll come back to you and he'll say, well, you need to save this much money a month for the amount of time that you expect to earn a salary for. So I ask 2 questions here. First of all, who thinks they can survive on 5,000 Rand a month? Right? Everyone says no. Okay, but now I'm going to warn you before I ask the second question. You can only say no to one question. So if you've already said no to the question I've just asked you, you have to say yes to the next question. Okay? So here comes the next question. Are you ready? The next question is, who is currently saving towards R1 million in their retirement? There's always one in the audience, right? And that reflects the statistics that we get back, because they reckon only 2% of South Africans will get to retirement financially independent. The rest of us will be financially dependent. And when they mean dependent, they mean we become a burden to our children, to other family members. We have to downscale our lifestyles to such a degree that we can survive on 5,000 Rand a month or less. There's a radio ad currently playing on the radio, advertising some retirement scheme of sorts, and they quote a statistic where they reckon 90% of South Africans will get to retirement and have to survive on half their usual income, less than half their usual income. So retirement is certainly not something that most South Africans are looking forward to. We discuss these negative aspects because I think, not to try to scare you, but I think it gives us perspective to our current situation. The problem is when we're faced with this debt cycle that we all find ourselves in, we become so focused on this debt cycle where we're trying to survive the end of the month and survive through December and January, we forget to look beyond that. We're actually not in a financial position to look beyond that, because if you're trying to survive every month, why look at investments if you don't have extra money, right? You don't have that position of luxury to look beyond the end of the month. So let's look at the second column, just for fun. Seeing as no one's doing that, we might as well look at the second example. So here, if you're in the position where you've saved 5 million Rand, the 5 million Rand will pay you out 26,000 Rand. Again, if you're under the age of 25, you have this gift that you probably don't recognize yet, but this gift of time, because you can save 4,000 Rand a month for the next 40 years, and your contribution actually has to increase with 7% or by 7% in line with inflation every year. And if you do that, you'll be in a position where you've saved 5 million Rand by the time you're 60. Okay? Like I said, people don't do this. 2% of the population gets to that position. The majority of us don't. So this is not the solution that we're proposing. We're going to be proposing an opportunity that will help you bridge this gap, or at least jump out of this debt cycle and put yourself in a position where you can start looking at investments. And so out of all the negativity, we actually saw, as an enterprise, we saw an opportunity to create a system that the average South African can engage with, that can do three things, actually. So we've got three goals for our wealth engineers. The first one is to see you become debt-free. This is what we want you to use, this additional income that you're able to create here at DuePoint, is pay your debt off as quickly as possible. Because only once you do that will you be in a position that you can now start looking at investments and building assets over time. And that's really what we want to empower you to do. So that's our first two goals. And then the third aspiration at DuePoint is just to see our wealth engineers happier. Because you made a decision to come here to a business presentation on a Monday evening, not because you wanted to see a business presentation, but because you had some hope in your heart that you would hear something that could potentially change your circumstance, right? And so how do you get engaged with DuePoint? So our guests here this evening, you've got the opportunity to join DuePoint. You actually contract with us. When you contract with us, we call you wealth engineers. And as wealth engineers, we only expect one thing from you. We call it building channels of distribution. But basically what it is you introducing people to DuePoint. And through our online platform, we'll attempt to place product with these people that you introduce to us. And that is how this business works. It's as simple as that. The benefit for you is that you get to create additional income. Okay, that's obvious. This is the only way you're going to bridge the gap between what your cost of living is and what your salary is. But the nature of the income that you produce here is one of recurring nature. This is actually inherent of insurance companies. And this is one of the benefits that you get to partake in when you join DuePoint. So recurring income is the ability to have an asset that doesn't pay you once off. Right? If you're involved in trade, if you're a service-based company or tradesman or craftsman or whatever, you selling time. And most of us sell time, right? So whether you're a designer, a programmer, a doctor, a lawyer, an electrician, a plumber, you sell time. If you are not out there working, you are not earning anything. And this was the problem with my business because I ran a digital agency and we primarily employed salespeople, some admin staff, but the work was being done by programmers and designers. And we would go out and look for work every month, bring the work in, brief it to the programmers and designers. They would do the work, design apps and build websites and all kinds of things, and then we would invoice the work. And at the end of the month, I'd have to start at zero all again. I'd have to send the sales staff out again, and we'd have to do everything, and we'd be in this monthly cycle, right? And if everyone went on leave in December, do you think we made any money in December? We didn't make any money in December. And in January, clients would be very slow in January, briefing us. And again, January would suffer. And we found ourselves in the cycle where we would spend 10, 11 months trying to save up enough of a fund to get us through December and January. And we were fairly successful. We paid everyone's salaries. We never retrenched anyone. So I guess I can deem the business to be successful in some way. Running small businesses are fairly challenging. But I never got to the point where the business that I created had some form of asset value because it required me to be there 24/7 to make it run and be profitable. And I realized this after about 10, 11, 12 years. I realized I'm going to be doing this until I die, right? And that's when I decided I'm getting out. I'm getting out. I need to be in a business that creates an asset beyond my input that creates recurring income for me. And this is what we're going to be speaking about. The opportunity here is to create recurring income. It means that the effort that you put into this business in August 2017 can potentially keep paying you for the next 1 year, 5 years, 20 years for 1 month's effort, right? This is recurring income. Another benefit is the power duplication. We've built the system so that you can harness leverage in your business. Again, we recognize the fact that you're going to be limited in terms of the time you can spend in this business because most of us are employed. This is something we're doing on the side, something extra, right? So there's leverage in the business. What this means is these channels of distribution that you're going to be building, it's actually you going out to build a team. I often say to the wealth engineers, think of the people that you bring into your business as your board of executives and think of yourself as the CEO. So this board of executives aren't just going to be anybody. They're going to be people that you're going to hope that will collaborate with you in building this channel of distribution with you so that your efforts aren't on your own. You've got the efforts of 10, 20, 30, 50 individuals all investing time into your asset that will grow and in turn pay you out a greater recurring income. Okay? The business is flexi time. Now this is incorrect. Well, it's not incorrect, but flexi time is probably a poor description of it because I think it gives you a false sense of kind of what we expect out of the wealth engineer. Yes, you can do the business whenever you want. But to be successful in this business, You have to sacrifice time on a scheduled basis. You don't have to, but I'm recommending it. So by the end of this presentation, if DuePoint is certainly an opportunity that you're interested in, make sure you make two decisions. Yes, you want to become a wealth engineer, but also how does DuePoint fit into your life? Because you have to schedule it in. For those of us that are working and have got kids, there's no time in our schedules currently. You are going to have to decide to take something out to fit DuePoint in. Because if you really want to be successful in this endeavor, that needs to happen. And it has to be something that you commit to on a regular basis. This is not a New Year's resolution. We're not at gym trying to lose weight or trying to stop smoking. We're really trying to save our lives here. We're trying to save our lives. We don't want to be part of the 98%. And it's not a simple thing to do, right? This is a grind. This business is a grind. And unless you're willing to accept that and put in the work that's required for it, you're not going to be successful in it. There's no startup capital. There's no registration fees in this business. There's no boxes of product that you have to buy. So we make this very low risk in terms of the risk. There's no qualifications or experience required. That's notable because we work in financial services. And if you know anything about financial services, very onerous industry to work in because we're regulated by FAIS amongst a host of other entities. We actually contract you out of any of that obligation. So you don't have to worry about it. You can enjoy the benefits of financial services without that obligation. Build an asset. Now, this is a very important point. It ties in with time commitment and the recurring income. Because what we do, most of us that are employed, we're working for somebody else. Right? Do you have profit share in that business? Do you get a dividend check? Have you seen any say in the business? Are you building any form of asset that you can sell one day? Do you have shares? Right? Most of us say no, 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 and no. In this business, this channel of distribution that you're building is actually treated as a legal asset. So know that the time that you sacrifice and invest into this business is going into an asset that you have legal tender over. You can sell this business one day. You can give it to your kids when you get really old, when you can't walk and talk. That's the only time you can stop doing this business. If something happens to you before then, you can cede it onto your beneficiaries. So this channel of distribution has value that you're building, right? So this flies in the face of employment because we'll spend 40, 45 years working for somebody else where we don't get to partake in the upside as much as the business owners. In this business, all the effort that you put in, your accountability gets put into an asset that you have value, that you're building value in. There's no selling in this business, so we chuckle to ourselves, right? When the guests ask us, what are we selling in the business? And you come in looking for the boxes of vitamins or the milkshakes or the makeup or whatever it is that you were expecting. We're in financial services. We don't have the problem that other businesses have around stock and distribution. We've got systems that take care of all of that. We don't run out of product. It doesn't take up space in your boot or your garage at home. It doesn't have an expiry date on it. It doesn't start to smell funny when it gets old. Our products are fresh 24/7. Okay, so we make this business convenient as possible for wealth engineers to get involved with. But your success is predicated around your ability to go out and build these channels of distribution. So what are these channels of distribution? Well, this is kind of a picture of what a channel of distribution looks like. It begins with you in the center there. Kind of picture yourself as the CEO. And like I said, you're going to go out and you're going to look for people that you can relate to, your peer group, people that you can depend on, right? And if you're able to bring those people into this business, show them what DuePoint's all about, expose them to a presentation, and if you're successful in that, and these people take out a DuePoint product, that is the beginning of your channel of distribution, right? So that's almost your board of executives. They're going to go out and do the same thing. They're going to do exactly what you did because they too want to change their circumstances. They want to bridge that gap between salary and the cost of living, and they also want to build up these assets that will pay them beyond retirement. And so they go out and do the same thing. And the people that they introduce to the business are going to go out and do the same thing. And so you have this power of duplication that starts to take place. This is all your channel. You're getting paid for every single dot you see on the screen, not once off, every single month. You want to be in a position where you've built a sustainable enough channel of distribution that you can take 3 months of leave and DuePoint will pay you every single month while you're sitting on the beach. Right? This is what an asset does. This is what you want an asset to do. Not like my business. Got to be there all the time to make sure that we're making money. This is what entrepreneurship's all about. This is the upside of entrepreneurship. But there most certainly is a downside to entrepreneurship, right? There are many downsides to entrepreneurship. So this is our disclaimer slide, because we see running a business or owning a business or entrepreneurs, we see it like this pretty ballerina's left leg. Have you got a friend that owns their own business, drives a nice car, good-looking spouse, even the dog's good-looking, and you think they're so lucky, right? Who do they know? But in actual fact, if you've ever tried to start your own company, you will realize how difficult it is to be successful at it. Right? Anyone can start a business. You can go to a registrar's office, fill out a form, pay a little bit of money, get business cards printed that say CEO on the front, and show all your friends. It's the same as being a wealth engineer. 7 minutes to fill out an application form, you're a wealth engineer. We're not here to partake. You're here to become successful, to make a difference in your life. And that's the difficult thing. And when I describe it as a grind, it is that. It's very easy to get excited about someone who pitches a business presentation to you. Because often in a business presentation, we'll show you all the good stuff, right? But this is my slide where I'm going to tell you, in reality, it is difficult. There is frustration. There's learning curve required. We make the business certainly as easy and as convenient to partake in, but to be successful is another story. And so I ask you at this point of the presentation to please have a long-term outlook with regards to this business. Don't come into this business with short-term expectations. You will be disappointed in the short term, only because of the frustration that everyone endures. The difference between someone with short-term expectation and someone with long-term goals is that the person with short-term expectation is going to quit after month 2 or 3. And the person with long-term commitment is going to push through the frustration and make sure they learn from it, become better at it, and become successful in the long term. Okay. All right, let's go on to the money, how we pay our wealth engineers. So this slide basically shows the mechanics of the returns. So there's 2 ways to benefit as being a wealth engineer. The one way is through our returns program. The second way is through a rewards program. So we're going to discuss the returns program. The returns program is what we pay our wealth engineers based on the product that they have in their channel of distribution. So we pay a base return fee of R27.50 for every product that you have in your channel. Okay, that's actually dependent on where the product lies. So remember those first five individuals, friends, colleagues, whoever, that you introduced to the business successfully, they lie on your first point. They're 1 point away from you. And on the first point, we pay you double the R27.50. Okay? On the second point, again, we pay you double the R27.50. You're being paid R55 for every product on your first 2 points. Not once off. It's recurring income every month going forward. On the third point, the multiplier drops back to 100% and it starts to fall off all the way down to the 8th point. From the 8th point onwards, we keep paying you the 4%, right? So you could build a channel that is 100 points wide. We will keep paying you from the 8th point to the 100th point, 4% of the R27.50. And we will keep paying you beyond that. We don't limit you on how big your channel can get at DuePoint. We don't limit you on how much money you can earn here at DuePoint. Okay, so this is the mechanics of the returns. The next question you get is, well, how much money can I earn after a certain amount of time? I understand the R55, it sounds great. It's not a lot of money in the greater scheme of things. Give me an idea of what wealth engineers do here at DuePoint. So what we did was, we projected over the next 60 months what you could be earning. It is based on a growth formula. It assumes that a new wealth engineer can bring 3 people into the business in the first month. Right? So call it August. You bring 3 people in August. In September, you only have to bring in another 2. And you keep bringing another 2 every single month. It's only 1 every 2 weeks. Doesn't sound too difficult, right? If you can follow that growth formula, you could be earning R2,500 after 6 months. I love this part of the presentation. The wealth engineers know, right? Because I know as consumers, we look at R2,500 and we're like, what can I spend R2,500 on? Shoes, handbags, not a lot of money, 6 months of work. Right? But we're thinking about money incorrectly. You need to start thinking about money in terms of asset value, in terms of long-term value. Right? So let me give you some context. Rob says, pay your debt off as quickly as possible. Instead of spending the money that you're earning here at DuePoint, start putting it into debt instruments that you have. Start paying your debt off faster. Here we have an example of someone with a R1 million bond. So if you're my age, 40, and you go find a nice little townhouse here in Bryanston for R1 million, I certainly don't have the cash. I go to the bank and ask for a loan. They give me a bond with the value of the house. right? But they say you have to pay it over 20 years at compound interest rate, which is the interest rate, right? So I'm going to be paying the bank back about 11,500 Rand a month for the next 20 years. I'll become a homeowner for the first time probably around the day I retire. Right? That's successful, right? Pay your house off before your salary runs out. But if I join DuePoint and with some success, 6 months later I'm earning 2,500 Rand. I put the 2,500 Rand as an additional payment into my bond. The net effect of that is that I will reduce the bond term from 20 years to 11 and a half years. I'll become a homeowner at the age of 51 instead of 60. I will have saved myself, in terms of repayments, I would have saved myself R1 million. That blows my mind, because the value of the asset that I financed is R1 million. And you're telling me I'm going to save R1 million just with a little 2,500 Rand. Right? This is why we have to think about money differently. No one here would have sat down and thought 2,500 Rand could equate to R1 million saving. But I know that everyone in the room has got debt. Right? Average debt in South Africa is sitting just under 300,000 Rand. That's a lot of average debt. After 12 months, you could be earning in excess of 100,000 Rand in annual recurring income. Sound better? You keep going, I hope. After 24 months, you could be around 30,000 Rand a month. That's 360,000 Rand in annual recurring income. Within 2 years, we could have wiped out the average annual debt for the person, for a South African. And that's life-changing. Doesn't matter how much money you're earning. You could be earning 200,000 Rand a month, an extra 30,000 Rand a month. Makes a massive difference to the cost of living at home. 36 months, you had 50,000 Rand a month. Here's another bond example. At month 30, a 5 million Rand bond. You'll be earning about 36,000 Rand a month out of DuePoint. You can place that as an additional payment into your bond. You'll reduce the bond term from 20 years to less than 7 years. Now that would be great, right? Because I could go out and buy a 5 million Rand house, put that additional payment in, and become a homeowner on a 5 million Rand house by the age of 47. I will go buy a second house for 5 million Rand, right? Houses only become assets or investments, should I say, if you own more than one. The house you're living in and paying off is not an investment, right? Unless you plan to sell it and move into a caravan. Some people are forced to do that, right? So I buy a second house. At the age of 54, I've paid that off. I'll buy a third house. Now I'm renting out 2 houses at about 30,000 Rand each. So that's about 60,000 Rand coming in. By the age of 61, I've paid off the third house. I'm now ready to retire with 15 million Rands worth of property assets that I've bought for myself over a space of 21 years. It requires a decision today to have that realization in 21 years' time. After 48 months, you're close to about 70,000 Rand a month. And after 60 months, a short 5 years, close to about R1 million in annual recurring income. Now, this is all academic. This is just an example the accountants came up with based on this growth formula called 3 plus 2. You think you can bring someone in every 2 weeks into this business for 60 months straight? Everyone says, But it is. It's academic. It's only theory. It's only numbers made up in an Excel spreadsheet. You can do certainly a lot less than 3 plus 2. I call it the 0 plus 0 club. Wealth engineers get excited by the presentation, join. They don't do anything, right? And they don't earn anything. The accountability always lies with you. But we've got wealth engineers that do more than 3 plus 2. 3 plus 2 is just an example. You can do double 3 plus 2. You can do triple 3 plus 2. Again, accountability always lies with you. How much time do you want to spend in this business? So we've got Jack. He's from Witbank in Mpumalanga, joined at the end of January. Within a month, he was earning 1,000 Rand a month. Now again, we're probably thinking, 1,000 Rand a month is not much. What can you buy on 1,000 Rand? Maybe pay your transport or your cell phone bill, right? We're thinking it, think about it like consumers in terms of spend. But if you look at it in terms of long-term value, he's basically created for himself 200,000 Rand cash investment, because that's how much you would need in the bank to derive 1,000 Rand income monthly. Because this is recurring income we're talking about. It's not once-off income. He tripled that in the next couple of months, and the next couple of months again, he doubled it again. Whereas as a society, we're begging for 8% or 7% every year as an increase. Engelbert, KZN. You can go listen to all these testimonies on YouTube. We had these guys up on stage earlier in the month. Engelbert started out right at the beginning, February 2016. He's tracked 3+2 fairly closely over the last year or so. But if you listen to his testimony, he'll say he had a very troublesome 2016. Up and down, up and down. He had health issues and he had issues in his channel. He had one person trying to expose his entire channel to some get-rich-quick scheme, and he had a lot of problems. But what's important to note out of his testimony is that never once did he say, this doesn't work for me. He just said, I've learned from my mistakes. I've got lots of time to sort it out. He wants to give himself 8 years to get to a position where he doesn't have to work. And that's his long-term goal. Can you see? He didn't get frustrated and overwhelmed by the short-term expectations. He pushed through. Kanyezi from Boksburg, right? All the good people come from Boksburg, I believe. She joined at the end of March. April, May, June, July. 4 months, 17,000 rand a month. That's equivalent of having about 3.5 million rand in the bank. She created that asset value in the space of 4 months. When the rest of the country is shrinking, we are growing. That's just the truth of it. Not many companies thriving in our economy at the moment. But she's extremely committed. She deals with exactly the same frustration as any wealth engineer would. She's got a target of speaking to 25 people a day. Who was sitting here thinking, I can't do these businesses, I don't know enough people. Kanyezi ran out of people she knew on day 2. She's got children, she runs a business, she doesn't have excuses. She doesn't have excuses. She's doing this business for her children. That's where she finds her motivation. She's had the same frustration. She said out of the last 100 people she spoke to, 98 said no. Did she go, this business doesn't work? I'm giving up? No. She carried on. She's like our poster child. I'm like, Kanyezi's saying everything that we hear in a year. Keep going. Okay. So, these aren't special individuals. We've got hundreds of wealth engineers earning here at DuePoint that have created this asset value for themselves that is paying them out a recurring income over and above their salaries. We've got people with matric, people without matric, people with corporate experience, retired people, all kinds of people, housewives. It doesn't matter who you are. The business just requires time and commitment. Nothing else. Nothing else. Remove the objections from your brain and look towards the possibility of what this business can bring you. So this is the returns program. This is what we pay our wealth engineers at the end of every month based on the product that they have in their channels. The second way to earn here at DuePoint is through our rewards program. So the rewards program works like this. You become a wealth engineer and you engage in normal wealth engineer behavior, like coming to presentations, bringing other people to presentations, logging into our dashboard, watching the training videos. When you do all these things, we give you something called XP. It stands for experience points. It's not worth anything, right? I saw someone on Facebook saying, get 25 Rand every day through the XP rewards program. No. You can get 25 XP every day. It's only an indicator of how active you are as a wealth engineer. It's got no monetary value. And when you start collecting all this XP and your business starts to grow, your channel of distribution starts growing, we will reward you along the way. Right? So if you join this evening, you'll start out as a rank 0 wealth engineer. But very quickly you can get to rank 1 because you only need 1,000 XP and you need 4 products in your channel. Right? If you do those 2 things, then you become rank 1 and we give you an extra 55 Rand once off at the end of that month that you rank up. And then you go for rank 2 because as you start to rank up in this business, or in at least the rewards program, the rewards get bigger and better. So you can see 400 Rand, 20,000 Rand, 50,000 Rand. We give our wealth engineers tools that help them to be more effective in building their channels of distribution, right? So here's Patrick and Pumi with their Lightning USB drive. This is a great little device because it's got all our video collateral on there. But the beauty of this little device is that it plugs into anything. It can plug into cell phones, tablets, laptops, TVs, computers, any electric device. So it'll plug it in, and Patrick and Pumi can show people the DuePoint opportunity regardless of who's around them or what device they have around them. At rank 7, we get these premium, luxurious business cards printed or at least manufactured for our wealth engineers. They cost us 12,500 Rand a set. You get 1,000 business cards. They're 4 times thicker than any other business card. They've got this black suede feel to them. They feel special. Right? Patrick's here. You can ask him if he can touch his business card. He won't give you one. You can feel it. You'll ask for it back. Why do we spend so much money on business cards? Because first impressions are very important in this business. I'll always say to the wealth engineers, you've got to behave, speak, and be professional in this business. It's no different to running your own business. When you go speak to people about DuePoint, they've probably never heard of us before. We don't have enough brand value, brand equity out in the market yet. So when you speak to them, they haven't heard of DuePoint. But when you place a 12,500 Rand business card in their hand, one that's like 20, 30 times more expensive than the one they have in their wallet, they give you a little more credibility. Your credibility jumps a couple of levels. They're willing to let you explain what DuePoint is, right? So these are tools to help you build your channels of distribution. Rank 9, DuePoint takes you and your family business class flights for 7 days away to a 5-star luxury resort overseas, not once, but every single year. Once you get to rank 9, our rank 9s and above will come on this international conference with us, with their families, every single year going forward. We've got footage of the resort that we've booked out for December, so take a look. Picture yourselves with the sand between your toes, because this is available to everyone in the room.
All of your wind has gone, and all of the paths you've drawn have sunk to the ocean sun where no one can see. You stand on at the dark embrace, cower the dreams you chase under the rust and blood. Don't let yourself give up.
So the record to rank 9 is 5 months. You can take as long as you want, because there's no time limit on getting to rank 9. If you can get excited about 55 Rand at rank 1, you can probably get to rank 9. because the behavior doesn't change. There's no difference to getting to rank 1 than there is to rank 9. The behavior remains the same. The activity remains the same. Right, so we already have 3 families that have qualified for rank 9 this year. We've got another 2 families that are going to get qualified this month. When are you getting qualified? It is waiting for you. No one's going to drag you there or push you there. You've got to use your own energy in getting there. At rank 11, we spend R250,000 on a brand new car and give it to the wealth engineer. Can you see our effort in trying to get you to become debt-free as quickly as possible? It is our number 1 aspiration for the wealth engineer, to become debt-free. And these are all tools to lend to your business. The rank 9 holiday is not there just as a holiday. It's there so people can see the success that you're having in this business opportunity, help you build your channels of distribution faster. Okay. This is just rank 11. You saw the program went to rank 20. We've actually designed it down to rank 28. So believe it or not, this is just the beginning for our wealth engineers. Okay, so this is the second way to benefit out of the DuePoint system, is through our rewards program. There is a third way. We call it a wealth quest. It is an incentive that we run once a month. So every month we have a different challenge and a different reward attached to the challenge. This month it's called Build the Right Team for the Dream, right? The emphasis is on quality in this business, because if you're able to bring in 2 qualified wealth engineers into your business and ensure that you don't have any cancellations on your first 3 points in the month of August, we'll give you a brand new iPad by the end of next month. Okay, so this is the wealth quest. We get asked the question, well, how does DuePoint afford these returns and the rewards program and the wealth quests? This basically illustrates our business model. So traditional insurance companies will typically spend a lot of money on marketing and advertising. They take a large portion of the premium and assign it towards client acquisition, which is next month's marketing budget, right? DuePoint doesn't do any advertising. We don't spend a cent on marketing here at DuePoint. We rely on our wealth engineers to go out and tell people about the DuePoint opportunity. And so we don't spend the billions that the insurance industry spends on marketing and advertising. We take that portion of our premium and we give it to our wealth engineers in the form of returns and rewards. And that basically illustrates our business model. Let's speak about the products. You'll notice that I haven't spoken too much about the products, actually nothing at all in the last 45 minutes. That's because you're not going to go out and speak to people about product. You're not doing any selling, right? But you guys need to consider our products. We've got 3 products. They all have financial benefit. They speak typically into the issues that we have from a financial point of view. So the first product is an investment product. It's called Access Wealth. It is 299 Rand a month, of which 100 Rand gets invested in your name on your behalf into a tax-free investment fund with Sanlam. Okay. We give you a little bit of insurance with this product, 110,000 Rands worth of personal accident cover. This is not a notice or a fixed deposit, the investment, so you can draw the money out at any stage. It takes about 72 hours to process, but you can draw the investment out whenever you like. So that's the investment product, Access Wealth. The second product is called Wealth Guard. It is strictly an insurance product. So this is only insurance, 274 Rand a month, but this time you get 1.1 million Rands worth of personal accident cover. So our personal accident cover is not life insurance, right? The beauty of this product is that we don't profile you from a health risk point of view. So there's no nurse coming to you to do blood tests and urine tests. We don't ask you for 40 years of medical history. So it's a very straightforward, clean-cut product. Anyone over the age of 18 can take out this product. The premium remains the same. You can be 80 years old, you can be diabetic, you can have cancer, you can still take out this product. The premium remains the same, the cover remains the same. So that's product number 2, Wealth Guard. Product number 3 is called the Wealth Points Buyers Club program. This product aims to save us money on the money that we spend every month anyway. So for 274 Rand a month, you get to engage in the discounts that we've negotiated with a list of companies there. So you can see product number 1, or partner number 1 is always on. It's our Wi-Fi data partner. You can get a gig of data for less than 37 Rand. We've negotiated them down to less than 67%, or to 33% of their usual prices. We've got the entertainer, 1.3 million Rands worth of buy one, get one free vouchers. Gives you access to restaurants around the country, hotels around the world. We've got a lot of retail partners there. We've got Eagle Ford, right? So the product is there to save you money on the money you're spending anyway. So this is Wealth Points. For immediate benefit, is a great product to have. I remind you of the support that you get here at DuePoint. Do not become a wealth engineer and then never speak to us again, assuming you can do this on your own. Everything that we do here is to support the wealth engineers that partner with us. So plug into that support. We've got a live stream that goes out to the entire country every time we do a presentation, right? It allows you to go build these channels outside of Johannesburg. Don't be locked into the head office. We've got thriving businesses around the country. Go tap into that leverage that we made available. The facilities are for our wealth engineers. You can make yourselves at home here. We've got free Wi-Fi. The tea and coffee is always available. Plug into the support for your own benefit. Okay, the decision slide. So we're near the end, folks. What is the decision? Don't worry, you don't have to put your hand up. What is the decision? So we've spoken about a couple of the negative aspects which are really driving factors around why people would consider looking at this opportunity that requires time sacrifice. We are here because I think majority of us have realized that the economy is not going to change in our favor. Right? If you wait for that, you might be waiting for a very long time. Your employer is not suddenly going to give you the 100% raise that you were hoping for, or the promotion that's suddenly going to change your life. That maybe happens to 0.1% of us. The rest of us have to look for something extra, something additional that can supplement this growing gap between what our salaries are and the cost of living. Food is doubling in price every 8 years. That blows my mind. Someone said, yes, Oros was 27 Rand, now it's 41 Rand. Don't know what the time period was, but that's our Oros index in South Africa, right? The rest of the world uses the Coca-Cola index. But this is the reality that we all face. The problem is we get stuck on this debt cycle. We're looking at the end of the month. You see that SMS arrive, cha-ching, your salary's been deposited. And then what happens after that SMS? 10 other SMSs. Cha-ching, 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 cha-ching. And you're hoping that you've got money left over after the last debit order. And for 50% of us, right, this is what the statistics say. 50% of South Africans with debt are now under debt review. It means they have not met their financial responsibilities, their cost of living responsibilities for more than 3 months in a row. And now they are in trouble with these people. 50% is half our population. And it doesn't look like it's going to get better. So the decision this evening is, do you want to start doing something for yourself that requires a lot of time and sacrifice, frustration to get through, but the ability to now take control over your income for the first time in your life? Perhaps for our little financial burdens, right? Because what opportunity do they have in life? We've got 700,000 kids matriculating every year, coming into a workplace that is shrinking. There's already 9 million unemployed. Those kids are going to have to go to Swaziland or Lesotho or Zimbabwe to look for jobs. They're not happening here. And we see the job market is becoming so competitive that parents, we're starting to get neurotic even about education, right? We are under pressure now to send our kids to the best schools to give them a head start on the other kids, because we know the job market is so tight. Even my peers, everyone's doing MBAs at the moment. They're in the same position. They're feeling the squeeze in the job market. They're trying to set themselves apart from the people that are trying to get jobs. So it's become a bun fight out there. Okay. So come speak to me about the opportunity. If you're a bit confused on some of the aspects, I'm happy to chat to you. We make joining very easy. We've got iPads out. We've got the free Wi-Fi. Jump onto your own smartphone or tablet. The homepage is www.DuePoint.net. There's a big blue apply button. Go through the application form. It takes about 7 minutes to complete. You can start building this asset tonight even. Right? You can phone someone while they're sleeping. So I've got a great opportunity for you. Okay, don't do that. Wait for the morning. You can get ranked to rank 1 by the end of the week. We've got merchandise. It's not a profit center for us. Please consider getting business cards. Right? I know the black cards look great, but don't discriminate. Get the white ones in the meantime before you get to rank 7. They're on display in the merchandise cabinet. The pricing is all on the counter. The USB stick's very convenient because we've got our videos on that too, and nowadays they plug into TVs. It'll help you not spend money on data. Okay, we've got a YouTube channel. Subscribe to it. It'll tell you every time a video is loaded, every time we've got an event coming up. And once you become a wealth engineer, download the mobile app, because that runs on your smartphone and it tells you exactly what's happening in your business in real time. You will see your asset value growing. You wake up in the morning and it's gotten bigger while you were sleeping. That's what you want this business to do for you. So guys, I thank you for your time. I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of the week. Come chat to me if you need to. Thank you.